Okay, this is order of operations. So order of operations is the order that you do stuff in when you're doing calculations. So you know already Bedmas, it's really, really common. Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. It's just the order you do stuff in. You just have to remember that division and multiplication are, you can do it either way. Addition, subtraction, you can do it either way. You normally do it left to right. So things like, oh, well, sorry. Another quick thing here before we move on. 2 to the 3, right, means 2 times 2 times 2. It's not 2 times 3. It's common as it equals 8. To do that with your calculator, these are the buttons here that you would use. Every calculator is slightly different, right? So you either use 2 to the y to the x3, 2x to the y3, or 2 with the little hat to the 3. Okay, now let's do some Bedmas. So here, we have 10 divided by 2 times 3. Now, what we do is it basically looks like an upside-down triangle. And we're going down to a point because we're going down to a single answer. So here we have division and multiplication. Just do it in order from left to right. So 10 divided by 2 is our 5, and then times 3, and then 5 times 3 is 15. You see, we work our way down. We're going to get to a point down every time. So something like this. Negative 0.8 plus 1.2 divided by negative 0.3 times 1.5. The negatives are just in brackets because it makes it easier to see. Now, if you look at this, we have an addition, a division, and a multiplication. So this addition is what we're going to do last. So we do this division first. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide those two right there. So negative 0.8 plus, when we divide those, we end up with negative 4 times 1.5. Now, we have an addition and a multiplication. We're going to do the multiplication first. So negative 0.8 plus negative 6, and now we can finally do our addition, and we end up with negative 6.8. All right, flip the page. Another example here. It looks a little more complex, but it's not really. So negative 3.2 subtract 0.9 divided by all of this stuff in brackets, which is 0.8 subtract negative 1.2 squared. Now, the brackets mean we got to do all of this stuff in brackets first. So we're going to do this subtraction here in the brackets. So negative 3.2 subtract 0.9 divided by, we do this in brackets here, we end up with 2, and it's 2 squared. Okay? Well, now we have a subtraction and a division. What do we do next? We got to do the exponent, right, according to Bedmas. So negative 3.2 subtract 0.9 divided by 4, right, because 2 squared is 4. Okay, now we have a subtraction and division. So we're going to do the division first. Negative 3.2 subtract 0.225. And then we have subtraction. We can finally do the end result. So they start to look complicated, but the order is still the same. Bedmas is always in play. Keep yourself organized. You can see it kind of looks like a triangle. Not a bad triangle. Well, there we go. So it kind of looks like a triangle. We're working our way down to a point. Okay, now let's do the same thing with fractions. You got to remember when we have brackets like this, it means multiplication. There's a division, there's a subtraction. Well, of course, we're going to do that subtraction last. So we work left to right. So let's do the multiplication first. Negative 2/3 times negative 2/3 is positive 4 over 9, divided by 2 over 9 minus negative 4 over 5. Okay, we have a division and a subtraction. We're going to do the division. Remember how to do division for fractions? We multiply by the reciprocal, right? The numerator and the denominator just switch spots. So 4 over 9 times 9 over 2, subtract negative 4 over 5. So 4 over 9 is 36, 9 over 2 is 18. So we end up with 36 over 18, subtract negative 4 over 5. Well, what you can do, if you want, you can reduce your fractions to make it a little easier to do these fractions. So both of them are divisible by 18. So 36 divided by 18 is 2. 18 divided by 18 is 1. So we could reduce that down to 2 over 1. It makes it easier when we're dealing with fractions because then it makes it easier to find a lowest common denominator, right? In this case, it's 5. So 4 over 5 is fine, but the 1 needs to be multiplied by 5, and so does the 2. Remember, whatever you do the denominator, you do the numerator. So we end up with 10 over 5 minus negative 4 over 5. And that's the old additive inverse rule, right? We would add the opposite, or you could use your calculator. So we end up with positive 14 over 5. Now, again, that's an improper fraction. You can leave it that way, or you could reduce it down to mixed fraction. That's up to you. Okay, so that was less than 3.6 order of operations.